Hey guys, what's going on? Steven back again, and I'm back with another 40k video from the channel More Lore. Now, the title of the video is Every Single Warhammer 40k Space Marine Rank Explained. So this will be very interesting to hear about all the different ranks in the Space Marines. Obviously, the Primarch is going to be at the top. Underneath that, probably the Chapter Master. Underneath that, I don't know. I'd probably say maybe like chaplain or librarian and then a chaplain. I don't know. Trying to think of some other ranks, sergeants, veterans. I'm guessing a veteran would be over a sergeant. An apothecary, that's got to be, I'd say that's got to be pretty high up there, I think. Being responsible for retrieving the gene seed of fallen Space Marines. That's got to be a pretty important rank. As for where that is in the ranking, I have no idea. So, yeah, sounds like it's going to be a really good video to learn about all the different ranks. So, yeah, let's jump into the video and check it out. Here we go.
Ranks have been used to organize militaries for generations, and since it is a war game that is filled with many different armies, the wild science fantasy of Warhammer 40k is no exception. But while some armies, like the Astra Militarum, have hierarchies and rank systems that could be familiar to us, the warriors of the Adeptus Astartes, or Space Marines, are organized in some very unique ways. So, since many of the most epic stories of this setting involve these superhuman warriors of the Imperium, we thought it would be a good idea to get acquainted with the rank structure of the Space Marines.
Okay.
The journey to superhuman existence starts as an aspirant. The many organizations of the Adeptus Astartes find these fresh recruits in a variety of ways, but they are always expected to be the very best of what humanity has to offer, as anything less could not hope to even survive the process of becoming a Space Marine, much less endure the rigors of their lives.
Right.
And so the process begins by finding those uncanny individuals. Most chapters have a homeworld that they recruit from, like the Ultramarines and their world of Macrog.
Yep.
Fleet-based chapters, however, find their aspirants on worlds in which they have established outposts and fortress monasteries. The Black Templars are well known for this style.
How many people does like a fortress monastery hold? I mean, if that's what you're recruiting from, I mean, even looking at the phalanx, that's huge. So how many people possibly live on that? Billions? A trillion? I mean, maybe that's reaching a little bit. Maybe a billion? Two? I don't know.
Same chapters, however, find their aspirants on worlds in which they have established outposts and fortress monasteries.
Like, how many people do you think actually live on something like that? Huh. That's interesting.
The Black Templars are well known for this style of recruitment, stopping at planets they've previously liberated to pick up new recruits as they crusade around the galaxy.
Oh,
these worlds range
cool
in their technological sophistication, but most Marine chapters prefer to recruit from primitive worlds where life is harsher, guaranteeing that their pool of recruits is already hardier than most. Even chapters who recruit from established Imperial worlds try to only recruit from populations that select for survivalist traits, such as hive gangers. Quite often, these populations view service to these mysterious sky gods as a mark of pride, and festivals are held on the regular intervals that chapters send their recruitment teams. Once a pool of aspirants has been gathered, there will typically be some sort of trial, a contest of strength, endurance, and will that further weeds out the weaker hopefuls. These tests are usually specific to the chapter culture, but they all generally test the hardiness of the aspirants, keeping in mind that these humans are typically younger than 15 years old, as older recruits tend not to survive the process of becoming a Space Marine at all. Having won or at least survived their contest, The most promising aspirants are then taken by the giant Marine recruiters back to their chapter to begin the process and never see their families again. As a new member
That's
of the
insane.
chapter, the children aspirants become neophytes
goodbye to
and are
Mommy and Daddy.
immediately put to work. They learn the chapter's histories, routines, and the behavior expected of them in between surgeries, of course. There are quite a few of these before a neophyte is considered fit for combat duty, and each chapter has their own unique way of going about this process.
Okay, so neophyte initiate. Surgical enhancement, typically deployed between 10 and 12 years old. Jesus. Secondary heart increases blood supply, provides organ redundancy. Osmosis, the iron heart fuses rib cage and provides general increase of bone density. Bioscopia, the forge of strength, hormone engine to increase musculature, chemical and physical regime, commence intensifies neophytes, capacity increases. Wow, Jesus. And that's all between the ages of 10 and 12. Secondary is between 12 and 14. The blood maker improves blood chemistry. The healer increases healing clotting to superhuman levels. Indoctrination intensifies preparing the Marine for future stages. Surgical enhancement continues. The unsleeping alters rhythms, ensuring no drop in performance if denied sleep. Wow. Once primary organs are deployed, the neophytes take position in chapter scout companies. Further surgical adaptation between 14 and 16, the neutralizer, the remembrancer, the imbuer, the eye of vengeance, the sentinel, and then 15 and 16 years old, the hibernator, the skin shield, the purifier, the devourer. Jesus. That's a lot of surgeries in a matter of 6 years.
Most chapters assign their youngest members to the scout squads in order to learn how to use their war gear in a relatively safe environment. Some chapters, like the Space Wolves, decide to put their neophytes into squads of frontline fighters called Blood Claws, arming them like a full battle brother and allowing them to work out their youthful exuberance in the harshest part of a battle. And there are others that are more distinct, like the Black Templars, who mix their neophytes into their tactical squads so they might learn from the brothers they are assigned to squire for, or the Grey Knights, who do not allow their neophytes to take part in combat at all until they have finished the process of becoming fully fledged Space Marines.
Oh, wow.
Regardless of the method, very few neophytes survive the surgeries and their combat duties to make it to become Space Marines. The vast majority of a chapter's members are simply battle brothers. These are the main force itself, and rather than separating them by further ranks, Marines prefer to fight as relative equals for most of their careers. A battle brother is armed and trained with almost every weapon and bit of war gear that the chapter has access to, and are organized into squads as their superiors feel suits their personality. Although quite a few chapters have traditions about how and when a battle brother can progress through each type of battlefield role. Line infantry, assault troops, heavy weapons, special weapons, tank crews, all of these roles are filled by the rank and file battle brothers of a chapter. In addition to that, during their time spent as a battle brother, an Astartes warrior might be marked for more specialized duties. And it's in this way that new apothecaries, tech marines, and chaplains are recruited. Other than that, a battle brother that survives centuries of combat duty can perhaps hope to be given a leadership rank or brought into the fold of the veteran companies. The first true rank in our list is given to those brothers who show an aptitude for leadership and strategy.
The sergeant.
Sergeants are given a squad of their brothers or neophytes to lead and are given some extra training to that effect. Typically, these Marines have proven their ability to keep their cool under pressure and put the mission's goals ahead of all other concerns. In the Astra Militarum, a sergeant is there to keep the morale of their troops from buckling, but a Space Marine feels no fear, and so that isn't what keeping their cool means. For an Astartes, getting carried away typically means that they allow their zeal to expose them to more dangerous situations. Power armor is an amazing bit of kit, but if you run into a full gun line because some Chaos Marine said the Emperor was a nerd, it won't help you much. Sergeants keep their brothers' rage focused where it should be, on the mission.
Right.
Most squad leaders in the Space Marines are marked out by a different colored helmet. Typically, this will be red, but some chapters, often the ones with red-colored armor, choose a different hue, like the Blood Angels using yellow helmets and
What do you mean? Blood
iconography
Angels
to
would love
mark
to have
out their
red
sergeants.
helmets too.
And as Sergeant is the rank of squad leaders in general, you can also find veteran sergeants leading squads of a chapter's veteran units, like Stern Guard, Command Squads, and Terminators.
Oh,
An
okay.
older rank from the pre-heresy legions, Lieutenant, was recently brought back into the organization of the Space Marine chapters by Ultramarine Primarch Rabute Gilliman. Lieutenants are like sub-captains and are often found leading fully half of their respective companies to lighten the burden of leadership for the company captains. These demi-companies are typically led by a lieutenant who reports back to their captain, leading to increased flexibility for the force as a whole. It's also not uncommon to find a lieutenant leading a smaller strike force of Marines when it would be unnecessary to have a captain do so. Lieutenants are, as a consequence, almost always pulled from the veteran companies and usually have served as veteran sergeants for some time, using the centuries of knowledge to guide their brothers to victory. They are often viewed as the most likely candidates to replace their captains should they fall in battle.
To be next in line.
As with most other Space Marine ranks, most chapters have their own unique names for lieutenants, even though almost all of them fill the same role. Black Templar Castellans, Space Wolf Battle Leaders, and Iron Hands Naismiths all help their superiors direct overall strategy and troop movement, allowing their captains to focus on the most pivotal parts of a battle. Wolf Lords, Masters, Marshals, Khans, captains by any name in any chapter do one thing: lead. Space Marine captains are the second highest rank in a chapter's organization. Each chapter is organized into companies, or again, whatever the chapter in question calls their formal battle groups. Each company is typically filled with 100 Astartes warriors in their various vehicles, servants, technicians, and war gear. A small army in their own right, and so each of them requires a captain to lead them. Not able to be everywhere at once, a captain makes use of their lieutenants and other advisors to direct the flow of battles and entire campaigns, only taking to the field themselves when their direct supervision and might is required. This sort of appearance usually coincides with the captain's command squad, hand-picked veteran warriors from their company that guard their leaders while they make decisions, assist with assaults, and hold the company banner to inspire the other battle brothers. Being a captain also necessitates being part of chapter politics, which, depending on the chapter, can be fraught with its own risks, but generally this only entails discussing with the other captains and the chapter's various masters about various campaigns, strategies, and large decisions the chapter needs to make as a whole. Just like how lieutenants act as advisors and successors for their captains, so too do captains advise their chapter masters, and when a master is killed, one captain from amongst their number will be chosen to become the next overall leader of the chapter. Now we're getting into the specialist ranks, and as per usual, they are only ranks in the loosest of terms. These specialists are technically outside of the normal hierarchies of their chapters, answering only to lieutenants and above, though these leaders quite often yield to the more focused experience of their specialist when they need to ask them anything. The first of these are the warrior healers of a chapter's apothecarian, known usually as apothecaries. Apothecaries handle all of a chapter's medical needs, from the creation of new Space Marines to emergency surgeries on the battlefield. As a result, a Space Marine apothecary doesn't just need to be handy with a scalpel, they also need to know their way around a bolter. One of the most important duties of these medics is the stewardship of a chapter's gene seed, the progenoid glands that allow for the creation of new Marines. When an Astartes falls in combat, it's the job of an apothecary to offer what piece they can, and then harvest the glands stored in the neck and abdomen, sealing them in armored tubes so they can later be grafted into a neophyte. Space Marines go to...
Now, for an apothecary, is there like an... what is I'm trying to think of? For like some of these specialized ranks and stuff like that, you know, apothecaries, tech marines, is there like a, I don't know, like a Grand Master Apothecary that all the other apothecaries can go to. Same thing with like Tech Marine. Is there like a Grand Master Tech Marine? Like would they go to like Archmagos, drawn a blank on his name, you know, would they go to like him? You know what I mean? Same thing with like librarians. Is it like Grand Master Librarian that kind of oversees all the other librarians? That's what I'm kind of wondering.
War using a wide variety of gear, weapons, and vehicles, and as such they are in need of a group of specialists who can maintain their tech, which is often ancient and irreplaceable. However, the Astartes would never accept outsiders into their chapters, and so, long ago, a pact was made with the tech priests of Mars. Any battle brothers with an affinity for technology would be sent to train on the Red Planet and return to their chapters as tech marines so they could maintain a chapter's mechanical strength. Like apothecaries, tech marines operate outside the normal hierarchies of a chapter, with the notable exception of the Iron Hands, whose captains and other leaders are often drawn from the tech marines of their armory. Like every other Astartes, tech marines are entirely capable of defending themselves in combat, and often have additional mechanical limbs thanks to the servo harness that many of them are equipped with. Welding, cutting, and repair tools make pretty decent weapons, as it turns out. Another specialist rank in the Astartes chapter organization scheme, chaplains look after the spiritual well-being of their battle brothers. And here's where things get a little weird, because Marines don't have the same relationship to the Imperial religion as the rest of humanity does, except for the Black Templars. But even these most zealous of Space Marines don't exactly treat worship the same way as mortal humans do. Most Astartes venerate the Emperor as their very literal creator and more figurative father, a connection that no other human could really claim to have beyond the metaphorical.
And they see him as a god.
And so while a Space Marine chaplain acts as a religious leader and a keeper of the chapter's individual traditions and doctrine, they mostly just lead their brothers in prayer and keep the holy days scheduled properly until they are called to fight, that is. In combat, a chaplain's other responsibilities come into play much more noticeably because a chaplain's most important function is to keep the zeal of their brothers high to remind them of their duty as protectors of the Emperor's realms. And so chaplains are often found in the thickest fighting, swinging the winged mace that is their symbol of office, the Crozius Arcanum, and chanting the many canticles of their faith to energize their brothers, while their black armor and skull-faced helms terrify the enemies. Lastly, chaplains are generally responsible for disciplining their brothers. When a Marine breaks a rule or performs poorly, it's often the chaplains who dictate the penance that needs to be undertaken before a Marine can be free of their shame.
Makes sense.
If a neophyte shows any psychic potential at all, they are immediately whisked away by members of the last of the specialist ranks in the Adeptus Astartes, the librarians. And while the image of sweater-wearing, bespectacled book nerds the size of a Space Marine is funny, the chapter librarians have little in common with their modern counterparts. I mean, they're still book nerds, but that's about all. They might enjoy sweaters too. The members of a chapter's librarius keep careful records of the chapter's deeds and history, as their name would imply, but they are also the sanctioned psychers of their orders, marked by their bright blue armor, psychic hoods, and various psychic weaponry, lending their considerable might to the already terrifying arsenal of the Space Marines. Regular psychers who operate in the Astra Militarum or other Imperial factions are frightening enough with their ability to harness the warp to do anything from defend their allies to smite their foes. But mortal human psychers are always 1 foot in damnation and must be watched for when, not if, they ever succumb to the powers they wield. Not so with the Space Marine Librarian. Space Marines are legendary for their mental fortitude, but even amongst their brothers, librarians are strongly willed. All of the physical and mental endurance that comes with being a Space Marine only helps focus the powers of a psyker, and the results are incredible. Space Marine psychers are some of the strongest warp users in the galaxy, with some, like Cato Tigurius of the Ultramarines, being so powerful that they can achieve truly incredible feats, like interfacing with the Tyranid hive mind. Every one of the specialist
Damn.
ranks acts as an advisor to their brothers in more conventional positions of power, but the librarians are perhaps valued more than all others.
Really?
While not explicitly a
Okay.
separate rank,
Yeah, I guess I can
veterans
see that.
in every chapter are marked out from their peers in some way, and from their ranks alone come the candidates for lieutenants, captains, and masters of the various chapter organizations. Veterans are typically marked by white helmets, stripes, or
Okay, so
other
this isn't
icon.
really going in like. So this really kind of isn't going in like order. So like a veteran can be taken to become like a lieutenant and a captain and stuff like that, even though they're at like the end of the video pretty much. Okay.
Iconography, which applies to denoting veteran members of other ranks. For instance, veteran sergeants are often denoted by a red helmet with a white stripe, and again, different chapters denote veteran status in different ways. Generally, all veterans in a chapter are pulled into its first company or equivalent. This means that squads of the hardened first company are often seconded to other companies or strike forces instead of fighting as one group like the battle companies do. Veteran Marines tend to form units like the Stern Guard, Vanguard Veterans, Command Squads, and Terminator Squads. Some veteran Marines are assigned to the more venerable war machines of the chapter, and so it's not impossible to find veteran tank crews amongst a chapter's roster. Special positions such as the Chapter Ancient, who has the honor of carrying the chapter's banner into war, or the Justiciar, who is the chapter's executioner, are also pulled from the ranks of the
That's
veterans.
actually a really cool
They
model.
are the most experienced, best equipped, and most trusted members of their orders. Masters are the highest ranks in any chapter, though
Okay.
once again, different
Yeah.
chapters will sometimes have different names for these positions. They are always held by the most experienced and often the most senior of their organizations. For instance, the Master of Sanctity is the head
Formaldus.
of the chapter's reclusium, where their chaplains are trained and operate. Master of the Apothecarian is the head medic, Master of the Forge is the chief tech marine, and so on.
Okay.
There are also some masters that hold positions like Master of the Fleet or Master of the Signal, typically held by captains who also command a chapter company in addition to their other duties
Okay,
to
so
the
the
fleet
ones I
or
was reading
chapter
earlier.
communications. Finally, of course, there is the chapter masters themselves, the captain chosen to lead the entire
Lord
chapter as a
Kaldar.
whole and who guides their efforts across the galaxy. Typically held by warriors with centuries of experience as not just battle brothers but also as leaders, the ranks of chapter masters include easily the most heroic and legendary warriors in the Imperium.
Can you just
Marnius
imagine the
Calgar
things
of
they've
the
seen?
Ultramarines, Pedro Cantor of the Crimson Fists, and Gabriel Angelos of the Blood Ravens are names that reverberate through the Imperium. While not officially a rank in the Adeptus Astartes force, the
Right, they're
Primarchs
still the
were
highest.
the overall leaders of each of the 20 legions of Space Marines before the Horus Heresy.
Yep.
That was before the concept of a chapter was widespread, and so it's fair to say that Primarchs were the chapter masters of each legion. And while the Thunder Warrior legions that came before the Astartes did have a Primarch rank held by their supreme commanders, no equivalent rank has ever been held by a standard Astartes warrior, either during the Great Crusade nor in the 10,000 years that came after. For the Space Marines, the Primarchs were their gene fathers, the templates from which each legion's genetic code was taken.
Right.
They operated according to the way their Primarchs ordered, and did their bidding in a way that made the Primarchs more like warlords than a formalized rank. So while we thought it was important to include them here for any folks newer to the setting, it's important to note that Primarch is not an official rank.
Right. But they're still...
So that was the whole list
A
of ranks
position.
in Space Marine organizations. There's certainly some room to go into more detail for some of the more
Fourth
esoteric
company, fifth
examples,
company.
and even the strange variations used in chapters like the Black Templars. So if you want to hear any more about these or other 40k topics in detail, let us know in the comments, and while you're there, don't forget to give us a like if you enjoyed the breakdown of the Astartes forces, and of course, subscribe so you can be notified whenever we bring you more lore.
Okay, so there we go. There's the video. That was very cool. I like that video. I'm kind of curious to check out some of the rest of his videos. Every single Warhammer Space Marine Legion explained. Maybe that'll be next, you know? Yeah, I've heard some, Space Marine chapters explained and stuff like that, but other people might have different takes on it. So yeah, that was really cool going through all the different ranks and stuff like that, learning about, the positions, things they do and stuff like that. The aspirants, that's pretty insane hearing, how they break down all the surgeries and stuff like that in a span of 6 years. Well, between the ages of this and this, these are the ones you're going to get. Between the ages of this and this, you're going to be getting these ones. And then between the ages of this, you're going to be getting these ones. And then also learning like what you're, going to be doing. Yeah, here we go. Once again, going right back here, you're going to be getting this stuff here in between 10 and 12, this here between 12 and 14, 14 and 16. I guess these kind of both of these kind of overlap a little bit. Oh, adaptation and enhancement. So either way, you're busy between the ages of 14 and 16 years old. But yeah, and then hearing about, of course, each chapter is going to have different methods and stuff like that. What do you say? Black Templars will incorporate, them into, like a squad and stuff like that to learn. Then you got the Grey Knights who are like, nope, sorry, you're not seeing any combat until you are a full Space Marine. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, you got your regular battle brothers, your sergeants, lieutenants, captains, all the other standard stuff, apothecaries, learning what they do, tech priests, chaplains. Chaplains are probably like my favorite. I don't know, they just look so cool. I'm not gonna lie, come on. Like, look at that. The drip is unbeatable. I mean, even in Space Marine 2, come on, how cool is that? And then you got like a giant black leather jacket and a badass skull helmet. How cool is that? Come on. If anything, I'd love to be a chaplain. I think that'd be kind of cool. Librarians and stuff like that. And then veterans. Is this the way the ranks actually go, or was he kind of like, just going over the ranks in no particular order? Obviously, aspirants are going to be at the very, very bottom. But yeah, were veterans pretty much at the top? Because I thought it was, veterans could be taken and, become lieutenants and captains and stuff like that. So yeah, not too sure which way he was going. Yep, and then of course the chapter masters, chapter masters, stuff like that, centuries old and stuff like that. Man, can you just imagine the things they've probably seen in all that time? That's insane. And then of course, yeah, Primarchs, but like you said, that's not really a rank, even though, it's just a position. Position in the Space Marines. I guess if you will, to the Space Marines, that's the father, their father. As to like regular people, well, that would be like supreme commander of that Space Marine chapter, if you will. But yeah, this was a really good video. I enjoyed it. I do want to check out, more of his videos and stuff like that. I don't remember which other videos he's got, but I'm very curious to check them out now. So yeah, I'll maybe do some more videos from him, because these are really good. And it's really cool to see someone actually go into the ranks. I wouldn't mind, I don't know, maybe a Imperial Guard one. Learning all the different ranks. I don't know how many ranks there are and stuff like that. I'm sure it's probably the same. Just regular guardsmen, trainees, commissars. I'm sure they got sergeants. Maybe that'll be a future video he does, because that'd be kind of cool to learn. Alright, so anyways, there we go. There is the video. Let me know what you guys think. What you guys think about the video. What do you think about all the different ranks in the Space Marines? I don't know which rank. Which rank do you like? What position do you like? Which position, if you were ever to become a Space Marine, what position would you want to be? Would you like to become a tech priest? Would you like to become a librarian? A chaplain? A sergeant? An apothecary? Let me know. I'm kind of curious to hear what you guys think. So anyways, on that, if you guys got any other 40k videos you want me to check out, let me know down below in the comment section. Leave a link to the video. That'd be awesome, and I'll try to find time to make a video on it. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. That'd be awesome. Remember, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media. Links in the description box below. And other than that, just stick around. More videos are on the way. And I will see you guys next time.